Hey there, and welcome back to another video. I think if you were limited to practicing only one technique for the rest of your life on your instrument, it should be the major scale. This technique has so much information in it, and you can use it in a million different situations, both technically and harmonically. Here's the thing though, when practicing major scales, you don't just have to play up and down the major scale. What? That's right. Starting on the root, going up stepwise an octave or two, coming back down, ending on the root is really great, but there's so much more you can do with the major scale. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 different and useful ways to practice the major scale. And like always, I made a free PDF worksheet for you that contains all of the exercises. Here's a little bonus thing. I didn't only just write out those 5 exercises for you, I wrote out those 5 exercises in all 12 keys, so you don't even have to worry about transposing anything. The only thing you need to do to get it is go to davepollack.com/major scales, or you can just go to the link I put in the pinned comment or at the top of the description down below. Also, if you're watching this video right when it comes out, we're now in the middle of my Saxophone Success workshop. This is a 3-part video workshop series where I teach you the main concepts of playing saxophone. And here's the great thing, whether you're a beginner or advanced saxophonist, you're going to learn something in this completely free workshop series. Each video has corresponding PDFs that you get, once again, also completely free. And the only thing you need to do to watch these masterclasses and get the PDFs is go to davepollack.com/saxophone success. You'll be signed up, ready to go, and you can start watching the videos right now. The first video, which was all about tone, came out on Tuesday. The second video about technique came out yesterday, Thursday. And the final video is tomorrow, Saturday, and that's about some extended techniques, all that cool other stuff that a lot of you ask me about. Now, let's get to these major scale exercises. All right, as you can see, we're here inside of the PDF. And although I am going to be going through it here in the video, I'm not going to be going over every single thing and putting every single exercise in every key on the screen. So that's why it's so important for you to download this worksheet for yourself. Remember, it's completely free. You can print it out, write on it. You can just save it on your device. Do whatever you want. It is yours to keep, but it's really important that you have it when you're practicing. Don't just rely on this video. Also, then you don't have to come back to this video often, and it's going to be hard to see everything. So make sure you have it on your own. One thing I'm going to say before I get into any of these exercises is when you practice a technical exercise like any of these, you have to put parameters in place for yourself. So as a wind instrumentalist, we have to focus on playing in tune. Okay, so work with a tuner. I have videos about that. Work on using a metronome, staying in time. I don't care how fast or slow you do it. In fact, I encourage you to do these very slowly and perfectly first. Remember, practice makes permanent. Remember that. So the slower you do it, better chance you're going to have to get it under your fingers, so it might not, flub around as much, and you'll be able to play perfectly slow. Then you can speed it up and still keep it correct. So you're going to focus on your tone quality, your intonation, staying in time, control of the instrument. These are exercises. It'd be like going to the gym and just throwing around the weights like I've seen people do, and that's when they get injured. They don't get the progress that they want. Same thing when you're practicing your instrument. You have to do them correctly, in time, in tune, good technique with your fingers if you're an instrument with fingers. All that stuff goes in there. Consistent air. Everything that I've been preaching on here on my channel for years, you have to do while doing these exercises. If that's a lot to think about, that's why I say slow it down, take it in small chunks, take some of the easier keys first, just get it under your fingers, then move through them. Now I want to dive into these exercises. As you see, the first one is called, number 1, modes. I just number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Modes of the major scale. A mode of a major scale is basically playing the scale, starting on a note, going linearly up and down stepwise in the key of the scale, starting on each pitch of the scale. So yes, the first one here is a major scale. But Dave, didn't you say not to just go up and down the root? No, I didn't say not to do it. I said there's more options in that. So if you see here, there are 7 different notes of a major scale, not counting that octave at the top. Each of them has a name. The first mode is called Ionian or major. Second one is Dorian. Third one is Phrygian. Fourth is Lydian. Fifth is Mixolydian. The sixth mode is called Aeolian, also called natural minor. And the 7th is Locrian. When I demonstrate playing these, I'm going to play them all in the key of C, because I always start with the key of C and I write them around the circle of fourths. My key of C on alto saxophone. Here's what this first exercise sounds like. Straight eighth notes at 120 beats per minute. So as you can see, I was staying in time. I was trying to keep everything as consistent as possible and really do everything I can to play this perfectly. Not just the notes, not just the rhythms, everything. One tip as well when playing this is you don't only have to play it at one tempo. You don't only have to play it with one articulation. You don't only have to play it in one style. You can play them faster. You can play them slower. You can play some swing. You can play some straight. Here's what it sounds like when I play this same exercise, but swing eighths at double the speed, so 240 beats per minute. Check it out. The modes of the major scale are great because we're so used to starting on the root, ending on the root. Now that we're starting on different notes, you get completely different harmonic concepts. You get minor keys, you get this, you get major 7, sharp 11s, all this different stuff is built into these scales, but we're still thinking of C major. That's the great thing for me. You can play 7 different scales with 7 different tonalities and harmonic, things, but you're still thinking of just C major. It's still the same 7 notes in the same order. You're just starting at a different point in that scale. So I think the modes are really great for you to practice. Now we're on to number 2. And as you can see, this is called 4-note groupings, 1, 2, 3, 1. 4-note groupings can be literally anything, but I put 1, 2, 3, 1 because if you look at the very beginning of the line, you start on the 1, go up to the 2, go to 3, go back to 1. And then everything shifts up by a whole step. So technically 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, so on and so forth. This one is really cool because it combines the linear sound of just stepwise going up with a little bit of a skip. As you see, da, 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 skip down, da, then reset, da, 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 skip down, da, so on and so forth, and then coming down as well. Here's what this one sounds like. Straight eighth notes, 120 beats per minute. And just like I did with the modes, I'm going to play this one now, 240 beats a minute, swing eighths. Check it out. This one right here, you can put right into your improvisation if you want, if you're at that point. You can add some of these lines in whatever harmony you're playing. And the great thing, once again, about all these exercises, once you find an overall key center, and if you've watched any of my videos before, you know how big I am on key centers. It's not only about the individual chords. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back, check out some of the videos in the improvisations playlist in the description down below. I talk about simple ways to get through tunes, different levels of ways to get through, and usually one of those levels is key centers, and you can do that right here. So for example, if you see a 2-5-1 in the key of D major, you know that throughout the entire 2-5-1 and the 1 chord, you're in the key center of D major. You can use exercises like this in D major to give different sounds over it, different rhythms, different intervals, shapes. It's a really great thing. For number 3, we're going to intervals. Yes, the last one had an interval, but this one is going to be all intervals. I chose kind of the most standard interval that you're probably going to be doing, which is the smallest interval of thirds, diatonic thirds. And by the way, when I say diatonic, and you'll see why I'm going to talk about that with number 4 in a second, but diatonic just means in the key of. So no matter what I'm doing here, these exercises are all in the key of whatever major scale we're talking about. So whether it's a minor third, a major third, whatever, it's all in the key of, in this case, the first one, C. So this one you may have played before. This is the most common exercise. Do, 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 do. Just goes up by third, and then you start on the second, up by third, up by third, up by third. Once again, diatonic thirds. Might be major, might be minor. Check this one out. Straight eighths, 120 beat per minute. Now, once again, I'm going to play this one, 240 beats a minute, swing eighth notes. Check it out. Remember, these are not the be-all, end-all major scale exercises. There are a million different permutations I could have done here. Even take the intervals. I could have done intervals in fourths, fifths, sixths, sevenths, octaves, ninths, whatever. I just wanted to choose 5 core exercises based on major scales that would be great for you right now to practice to increase your technique. Now we're on to number 4, and these are diatonic triads. I wrote triads and I wrote diatonic specifically because you could say, oh, I'll start on C and I'll play a C major triad, then a D major triad, then an E major triad, then an F major triad. That's valid as well, but I want to just stay in the key. I'm still thinking of one scale the entire time. So when I start on C and I'm playing in C, every note I'm going to play is in the key of C. So once again, that word diatonic means in the key of. So in this case, I'm playing a triad starting on every note of the major scale, so C, D, E, F, G, A, B, but I'm playing a diatonic triad, so a skip and a skip, no matter if it's a major triad, minor triad, diminished triad. In fact, the 1 is major, the 2 triad is minor, the 3rd is minor, the 4th, F, major, the 5th is major, the 6th is minor, and that 7th, B, D, F, that's a diminished triad. So you get major triad, minor triad, and diminished within this exercise. This one is really cool because now we're getting somewhere with some different shapes of the line. If you just do this exercise over a backing track or you do it in a key center, it's already going to sound like you're playing a solo line, especially if you have a track behind it, you have a band behind you playing, there's some other stuff before it, because we're getting away from just that linear sound up and down. Now we're moving around the horn, we're adding these different intervals. This is a really great one for you to practice in all keys. For the 5th and final exercise, I'm going to be doing triads with inversions. So as you see, it says diatonic again. So once again, we're doing diatonic triads during the key center, but we're going to be inverting every other one. So instead of going up the C triad and up the D triad and up the E triad, we're going up the C, down the D triad, up the E, down the F, so on and so forth. What this gives you is a little more connection between them. It gives actually kind of voice leading at the end of the first triad down, at the end and down, instead of instead of resetting and kind of playing vertically over each triad. Check out what this one sounds like. Once again, 120 beats per minute. If the last one started sounding like an actual solo line, this one absolutely does. I've done this when I'm soloing sometimes. I'm in a key center or whatever, and I just want to like do a pattern. And the fact that you're going up can build that intensity going up as well, especially if you have a landing point. It's a really cool thing to use when soloing. If you're not at the point of improvisation or not at the point of adding this into your improvisation, it's just a great technique to have. Okay, that's why I made these first and foremost, is for technique, getting better on your instrument, more control, but also you can use them for other things. I hope this video and these exercises give you some new ideas when practicing. I know that if you work through them and focus on playing them correctly, your technique is going to take off and you're going to have so many new ideas to use whenever you want. Be sure to grab the PDF by going to davepollack.com/majorscales or just click the link in the pinned comment or the top of the description down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.